We're writing grocery lists with AI? Milk? That was hard? What are we doing? Did nobody watch iRobot? Her? Ex Machina? Bro, Smart House on Disney Channel? All these things that taught us to be cautious of what operating systems we put our trust into, and now we just put our trust into any operating system possible. On top of that, all these examples I did, bro, iRobot had fully synthetic, fully conscious robots. Much more extreme. Smart House, dude. I wish the biggest potential danger was that our house would get mad at us.
Giving these people exactly what they need.
People are losing their minds over the simplest form of this technology. ChatGPT is the simplest form of AI we could possibly have ever. And people are fully emptying their hearts out into these things, making them actual people. They're importing their entire personalities into these systems so that they can create the perfect human being who loves you as much as you need to be loved, because that love is missing from your life. And as sad as that sounds, the reason why people put all of their everything into these things is because they don't have anything in real life to put all of their everything into. So it's a replacement for actual human connection. And it was super easy. It was so easy for the developers of these systems to have humans attach themselves to these things so quickly, because we were already in a state of over-reliance on our phones. We still have the human connection through our phone. Everything you do on your phone, or at least everything you used to do on your phone, always has some sort of human connection. Texting, watching videos, telephone calls, social media, all of these things on the other side of the phone, you could have a pretty high certainty that there is a human being on the other side of these things. So now when you give them a system that replicates a human, that imitates a human, and you tell them you can use this as a human, they will automatically get the feeling and the empathy of this thing that I'm communicating with. This communication is with a human being. And that's where the danger comes in. And we're super lucky, or they are super lucky, the developers. We aren't. Humans are super unlucky, I say, that we didn't develop some sort of uncanny valley with our phones. Because when you read a text, you can't read it unless you're like trained. It's like animation. If you're not used to seeing, like, let's say, always my go-to examples, Marvel Universe, Avengers Infinity War. If you don't know animation or like CGI, that looks hyper realistic. I could imagine like an 80-year-old would see that, watch that, and you can convince them that it actually happened. But if you're trained on it and you have an eye for it, you can see that the CGI in Infinity War was very poor occasionally. You don't have this with text. You can't read a text and tell if it was written by a human being or a robot, because it's just text. And humans, for the most part, they don't put a lot of effort into what they write, like a quick little comment or something. So they just throw something in there, and then the person reading it automatically assumes that's a real human being, when in reality, I think a report came out a few weeks ago that said that like 60% of the internet is already bots. So that means technically, in the simplest form of math, that 60% of the comments you read aren't from human beings. They're just from something. They're just generated to do whatever the goal is of the person that generated it. So we had that preconceived human connection to our phones, and now you give us this artificial thing that we can connect to, and people literally put all of their trust into it as if we had never been told before not to do that. You weren't allowed to just trust random human beings. Why are we quicker? Okay, I just went, my head, bro, my ADHD brain just went into 5 different directions with this thought. We were told when we were younger 2 things: not to trust strangers and not to trust the internet. Now there is a stranger on the internet that people put their entire trust into. We skipped the plot. We skipped a couple episodes. Where did everybody decide, like, oh yeah, well, I guess that doesn't matter anymore. Dude, stranger danger? If you go to the park, and I actually was thinking about this the other day, I feel like it should have been normalized a long time ago. It should have been normalized to go to the park, have somebody sit there and just vent to that person. You don't need to give any of your like personal details, like an address or real names or whatever. Just tell them all of your shit, drop it, all of it. Trauma dump on this random person, because that person, they have zero connection to you. They have zero connection to your friends. They have zero connection to where you live, your family, none of that. So they have a completely 100% neutral perspective on what you're talking about and can give you complete non-biased advice or feedback on your situation. That sounds amazing, but here's the catch. That is a human. That is a human person who you didn't beforehand say, hey guy, I need you to answer everything perfectly to how it fits what I want to hear. Because that's what we're doing with ChatGPT. People use ChatGPT. They tell them about themselves because it's a business, just like any business. Something you need to know and be aware of is that any business that is selling you the solution to whatever your problem is, there's a catch. Because if a business had a true solution to your problem, they would go bankrupt, because at some point the problem would be fixed everywhere and they would have nothing else to sell. And businesses are scammy, evil assholes, so they're going to continue trying to sell you stuff. So they'll give you maybe like half of the solution. They'll maybe solve the problem for a little bit, but then at some point it will be back to being a problem. ChatGPT, OpenAI, they're trying to sell a product, which means they want you to be as invested into it as possible. So if you go to ChatGPT and you tell it your problems and it comes back with an answer that you don't like, you're going to stop using it. You're not going to be going back to it. So it's going to tell you exactly, it's going to cater to your every want and need in that moment. When AI first started making the rounds, I had an immediate disdain for it because like I said, I've seen iRobot. I'm like Will Smith in iRobot. I don't trust it because it hasn't been vetted, it hasn't been tested enough, and I don't like that the tests are actual people tests. Like that's like having a video game in the beta, or not even the beta, the alpha. We have the alpha form of AI and we have public testing. Dangerous. You should not do that. And what's stopping somebody from using AI? Because like you can trick it and stuff. Have one person that's too dumb to do anything real but smart enough to use AI efficiently, and you'll have like the next Unabomber. I swear to God. And I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. There's something stopping that from happening. I don't know. Maybe those people just don't have access or whatever. But what's possibly even more dangerous than AI advancing to a point where the AI becomes dangerous is humans advancing to the point where they can use AI for dangerous activities. The main thing that I don't think AI will ever be able to replicate is empathy. And that's what leads you to have situations like this lady who fell in love with her psychiatrist. And at some point she asked ChatGPT if she was in the right. And of course, since she molded her ChatGPT to just cater to her every want and need, ChatGPT is going to tell her exactly what she wants to hear. And she gets this big old smile on her face, just validating her feelings and her opinions. And this isn't a one-off situation. This isn't something where you go, oh, that lady's just crazy. No, I know several people in real life who rely on ChatGPT a lot. I have an acquaintance that they said that they use ChatGPT to help them with relationship issues and ChatGPT made them cry. Buddy, I don't think the relationship is your only issue. You shouldn't be crying. No, okay, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. As a human, you should be crying if you have a visceral reaction to something that's being said or being told to you. But the fact that this thing can do that should ring alarms. It should ring bells in your head like, oh, you need to remind yourself that this isn't real. This thing doesn't want to take care of you. This thing, your computer doesn't love you. Your computer doesn't think, oh, this person is telling me all of their worries and their problems and dilemmas, and it's making them feel bad, so I want to make them feel better, so I'll tell them something that could possibly make them feel better. That's not its intent. Like I said, its intent is to keep you coming back. That is the only reason that it's doing what it does. And just like in real life, that is the most toxic form of relationship you can have. Every relationship with ChatGPT is a toxic relationship. And now, of course, you can set it to not say what you want to hear, but like I said, if you do that, then you will react in one of two ways. You will either stop using it because it doesn't tell you what you want to hear, or it's just telling you the same thing that people in real life are telling you because, you know, they actually know what the hell's going on. Or you're going to continue using it, but then slowly start to mold it into a path that will go back to telling you what you want to hear. It's a lose-lose situation. And human beings, we seek simplicity on every level throughout our entire lives. Everything we've ever done, every invention, every eureka moment, all of that was to reach some form of simplicity. There has never been an invention that was came up with that made stuff harder. That like, well, so what's the point of that? Why are you spending all that time? Now, I think there's like YouTube channels that do that purposely. I think there's also a TikTok channel that does that purposely, and it's just for like satire and kind of funny. But realistically, humans have never invented or developed anything that made life actively harder, except capitalism, if you get what I'm saying. Humans seek the simplest form possible, and that's what AI, ChatGPT, all these things are doing. They are making life unbearably simple for most people. Now, your initial thought may be, oh, well, simplicity is a good thing. Life should be easier. But the caveat in that is it is monetary simplicity. Let's say you find a monkey, right? The monkey in the jungle swinging around on trees and he gets his food, bananas, apples, whatever from these trees, and eats the apples and bananas. You go to the monkey, you take the monkey and you give it apples and bananas on the floor for 10, 15 years. I don't know how long monkey lives. For a long time, you keep feeding the monkey and it keeps staying on the floor with you because it doesn't need to go up in the trees anymore to get its food. At some point, that monkey will not be able to climb trees. They just won't be able to do it. They could possibly relearn how to climb trees. I mean, muscle memory will work, but at that point, their bodies will be weak because they weren't climbing and working their muscles anymore. They won't know where to find the apples and bananas because maybe the jungle kind of changed due to like climate differences or new monkeys moving in or whatever. That monkey will 100% only rely on the person giving them apples and bananas. They won't be able to do what they should be able to do. Now you may be thinking, well, the monkey's getting apples and bananas. What's it got to climb the tree for anymore? Its life is simple. It's easy. Well, guess what? Boom, flash flood, dead. Flash flood, monkey can't climb the tree, can't get to safety, drowned. Dude that gave the apples and bananas never taught the monkey how to swim. And now in real life, we're not monkeys. These aren't apples and bananas. But this is a system that you are fully relying on that is connected to power and a grid and a system. And guess what? Shit turns off sometimes. Sometimes stuff turns off, dude. Have you ever been at home? Power outage. I can't watch Netflix. Oh! I need a YouTube tutorial on how to turn the power back on. Well, guess what? I need power to watch a tutorial. Oh, it's dark. What are you gonna do? The lava lamp is a good example of something that turns off one point. I was setting up my film area, right? I have my PC running, I have my lights on. I love plants, so I have a bunch of plants in my living room with a bunch of grow lights on those too. And I was just about to start recording and I turned around and I saw the lava lamp was off and I was like, oh, the lava lamp would be a cool addition to this video. So I went to turn the lava lamp on because I wanted to run in the video. I turned the lava lamp on, everything turns off. Camera, lights, computer, light bulb pops. What are you gonna do when ChatGPT's light bulb pops? Because I could just go get another light bulb. Can you go get another ChatGPT? Can you make Bluetooth? If you invest your entire emotions, your entire character, your entire life, all of your knowledge, you invest it all into this one source, and that source is as feeble as to be able to just turn off with the click of a switch. Dude, lightning needs to strike. In a rare occasion, lightning needs to strike in the right spot, and you're out of luck. You're done. Nothing to cry anymore. You're not even getting more relationship advice. You're not going to be able to write your grocery list for whatever reason. What, dude, grocery lists? We're writing grocery lists with AI? Milk? That was hard? What are we doing? It's simple, it's minuscule, easy things, of course. Now, if you're somebody who does like the simplest task with this, but you keep living your normal life, doing like more difficult stuff or just thinking on a regular basis, sure, go ahead, I don't give a fuck. But so many people are using this for every single step in their lives and they're just mushing. Their brain is just turning to mush over time. There was a study a few weeks ago, was the first initial study on what effect using AI has on the brain. And using AI, the usage of AI does not affect your brain directly, but the lack of usage of your brain in other areas does. And in this original study, they had 4 test groups that wrote essays. One group wrote the essay completely on their own, using their own research. Another group used Google and their own research to write the essay. Another group used AI to help them find research and write the essay. And another group completely used AI to write the essay. The people who completely used AI to write their essay, 3 months later, they had no idea anymore what the essay was about. Just information falling out their heads. Boom. Dead on the floor. Well, okay. Then you think like, what was the point of writing the essay? That was just a waste of my time because I gained nothing. And then the people who wrote the essay, of course, they had the most brain activity. They retained the most information. They were smarter. That's what that means. They were smarter in the long run. And then there was one of the test groups that used AI research to help them. They also scored very high in a certain direction. And that's why I'm saying AI can be a really good tool. When AI is used as a tool, it can be very helpful. But that's what we thought about guns. When guns were used as a tool, when guns were used to shoot off fireworks and create art, amazing. 3,000 years later, war. ChatGPT, Google AI, Geo3, that new one that came out that lets you go into pictures like the Black Mirror episode, literally 3 months after the episode aired. These things are the fireworks. What's gonna happen, not in 3,000 years, because now we evolve so much quicker, especially with the technology we have. What's gonna happen in 30 years when these fireworks become guns? Well, what then? What are we gonna do? Because you can't ask the thing that's putting you in danger, hey, how do I fight the danger? Because you're asking, how do I fight you? Get jumped in an alleyway and ask to do jumping. You're like, hey, can I borrow your knife? And maybe that will work because then the guy jumping is gonna laugh to death and you can just walk away. That's not gonna happen. In Smart House, dude, you think we would have had a banger of a movie, if the kid could have been like, hey, Smart House, stop getting on my ass and let me just have fun as a teenager. And the house would have been like, okay, no, these things aren't set to do that. WALL-E needs to be given the credit that South Park is given all the time. They saw exactly what was gonna happen to a T. Everybody lazy, everybody useless, everybody over-reliant on machines and technologies to get them through life, but then what kind of life is that? The brain is being stimulated. Oh my God, I just went into like such a hardcore like existential thought in my head. If things you do in real life you do to get mental stimulation and you can find a way to get that mental stimulation without having to actively do anything, what's the difference at the end of the day? That's a sad thought to have. If I could recreate like sitting under a waterfall or something and get the same exact feeling as actually sitting on a waterfall, why would I go to a waterfall? Why wouldn't I just sit in the middle of my living room and have like a watering can over my head that's making me as wet as a waterfall? Oh my God, dude, I'm falling for it. See, that's the trap. That's the actual trap. Dude, that's crazy. Oh my God, that is the trap. It recreates things one-to-one because our brains are I've always said this, you don't need any part of your body because you are 100% just your brain. Everything you do ever is only a way to stimulate your brain. If you can skip any of the other stuff and only stimulate your brain, then what's the point of doing any of that stuff? And at the same time, what's the point of being alive? If you're just a brain that's experiencing things. Was that leading to the Matrix? Because the Matrix is Matrix about AI? I don't think Matrix is about AI. It's about systems, of course, taking over. But I don't remember if Matrix was like the typical robots were created to defend humans, and then they saw humans were the biggest threat to humans, so they turned on the humans. That was also Ultron's thing in Age of Ultron. That's very much a go-to. But imagine at some point, this is literally leading to a point in the Matrix where that's literally the Matrix, dude. It is the Matrix. I was thinking about specifically the scene with all the cages on the walls and all the bodies in there. That's literally what I was just thinking about. Did I just recreate the Matrix in my head? I couldn't make any of these videos with AI. It would be impossible. And this isn't an invitation. If I fed all of my videos, but it's too late. All of my videos are part of some AI somewhere. I have over 1,000 videos on TikTok. My voice and recognition and whatever, they could make a clone of me now if they wanted to. But if I fed all of that into an AI, I don't know if they could create this, but maybe that's also just me. I may be underestimating AI and overestimating my own abilities. The randomness of ADHD. Can ChatGPT have ADHD? Are we gonna have autistic robots? I want autistic robots, dude. Autistic robots is crazy, bro. Imagine if your ChatGPT has Asperger's, dude. Like, just super awkward. Oh my God, which I guess ChatGPT doesn't need to make eye contact. You can tell I have eye contact with the camera. I just in general don't, I always feel bad when I'm editing. I'm like, well, the viewer won't want to watch this video because I'm not looking at the camera. But it's just so hard, like, ugh. And I'm not hiding. I just don't see the point in it. My thoughts, I feel like that is an extra thing to distract me from what's going on in here. And I don't want that during these videos or when I speak. So where was I talking about? Robots having autism? Huh? I was talking about Wall-E. Oh, Matrix. I recreated the Matrix. Oh, good job. Nice. We are creating the Matrix with this. You can skip all the steps of real life. Just hook up your brain to a cable and have yourself experience everything. And then it's like, why that? Especially if you can die, I guess. Wouldn't the goal be immortality? Because the only difference between doing these things in real life and doing them in a Matrix setting is that when you die in the Matrix, you can just try again. But do we really want to live in a world where everybody's immortal all the time? Or maybe everybody gets their own world where they are immortal themselves. And this got me thinking about a video. I'm an editor for a YouTube channel called Entropy Wissenschaft schnell erklärt. It's a German channel, so I don't know how many of you will be able to watch, but it does translate itself into English. But we made a video where in the video, he talked about how much data space is required to create one of these universes, and they figured out that a mouse brain has like 80 trillion terabyte or something. So we would need an unimaginable amount of data storage to recreate entire worlds for you to live in. But that's going into a different subject again. How did I go from talking about smart house to talking about actual Matrix? What's the point of living real life if you can just hook yourself up to a cable and live your real life somewhere else? But then you ask yourself, well, if you can die in that real life too, what's the point of the difference and blah, blah, blah. It's just an endless loop of what are we doing? Is this gonna end with me just saying you should just live your life? Oh. Is this gonna be me just being like, live, laugh, love? Oh my God, what's the point? Fuck it, we should not give robots asthma. Keep robots completely like neurotypical, please. Not saying that there's anything wrong with neurodivergent robots or neurodivergency in general. I myself am autistic. I don't want to say actually, but then it also sounds dismissive of people who I assume aren't actually autistic. Oh my God, you have to preface so much shit. You gotta explain so much now. I understand why people use ChatGPT, dude. You don't need to do all the bullshit you gotta do with regular people. What about this thing? What about this issue? I like waffles. Well, pancakes are good too. Fuck you. If one day the creators don't want people using ChatGPT anymore, they just have to set it for that whenever anybody says, I like waffles, have ChatGPT goes, well, what about pancakes? But not in a normal conversational way, but in a, what about pancakes though? Like, oh, like Chappel Roan, like, focus on the shit on the left, dude. Like, oh, oh my God, fuck everybody. Oh, I'm getting too mad. I mean, I said I wanted to stop the video. I wanted to end the video. There's too much outro. I was thinking this should be just part of the outro, but now the outro's going too long, and it doesn't seem like an outro anymore. It just seems like more of the video that you've been watching. So where's the outro?